Something satisfying happened to you, and you cannot name it. Something shifted. Something rearranged itself at the deepest level of your being, and now the world you used to live in feels like a coat that no longer fits. You keep pulling at the sleeves. You keep trying to button it closed, but it will not close. It cannot close, because you are no longer the shape you were when you first put it on. And here is the part that nobody warns you about. You did not choose this, not consciously, not with your thinking mind, not with some grand spiritual declaration, or a vision board, or a 5-step manifestation ritual. Something chose you, something found you, something reached through the noise and the distraction and the carefully constructed identity you had been wearing for years, and it touched the part of you that was never really asleep. It just needed permission to wake up. And now you are awake, and you cannot go back to sleep. Let that land for a moment. Because most people who find themselves watching something like this right now are not here by accident. You are here because something in you recognizes what I am about to say before I even say it. You are here because the frequency of these words matches a frequency that has already been activated inside your body, inside your nervous system, inside the quantum field of your awareness. You did not search for this. This searched for you, and I know how that sounds. I know the rational mind wants to push back, wants to say that is just algorithm, that is just coincidence, that is just pattern recognition dressed up in spiritual language. But let me ask you something. If it is just coincidence, why does your chest feel different right now? Why does something behind your eyes feel like it is softening? Why does your breathing want to slow down? Why does some part of you that has been clenched for months or maybe years feel like it is finally being given permission to exhale? That is not coincidence. That is resonance. And resonance is the language of the shift that has already claimed you. So let us talk about what is actually happening. Not the surface level version. Not the version that gets packaged into neat little spiritual memes and posted on social media with sunset backgrounds. The real version. The version that makes your ego uncomfortable. The version that explains why your old life is dissolving and why no amount of effort can rebuild it the way it was. You are moving through a dimensional shift in consciousness. And I use the word dimensional very deliberately, not as metaphor, not as poetry, as description. Because what is happening to you right now is not a change in your circumstances. It is a change in the very fabric of how you perceive and interact with reality itself. The rules you learned, the strategies that worked, the relationships that sustained you, the identity that protected you, all of it was built on a frequency that you are no longer broadcasting from. And when the signal changes, everything tuned to the old signal starts to fall away. If you can feel that signal shifting inside you right now, pause with this. Have you spent years chasing manifestation, visualizing, affirming, raising your vibration, only to watch the same patterns repeat? Every traditional method assumes the same thing, that you are separate from what you want. That separation was never real. You were chasing a signal you were already broadcasting. Beyond the frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery walks through all 9 frequencies, from the dense transmissions trapping you, through the ascending currents, to the master frequencies where consciousness becomes the field. Every method you tried sent a signal outward. This one tunes the signal you already are. Every day you delay, your nervous system broadcasts the same old signal, and breaking free gets harder. so move on it tonight. The link is in the pinned comment below. Now let us go deeper into what this dimensional shift truly means. This is what the ancients meant when they spoke of death and rebirth. Not physical death, perceptual death. The death of one way of seeing, the birth of another, and the terrifying, beautiful, disorienting space between them where you are neither who you were nor fully who you are becoming. That space, that is where you are right now. And the reason it feels so uncomfortable is not because something is wrong. It is because your nervous system was calibrated for a reality that no longer exists. Think about that. Your body, your habits, your reflexes, your emotional patterns, all of them were shaped by a version of reality that you have already outgrown. But the body does not update as fast as consciousness does. The body holds on. The body remembers. The body keeps trying to navigate using a map of a city that has already been rebuilt. This is why you feel exhausted for no reason. This is why you can sleep for 10 hours and wake up feeling like you ran a marathon in your dreams. This is why your appetite changes without explanation. Why your taste in music shifts. Why people you used to enjoy being around suddenly feel draining. Why conversations that used to engage you now feel hollow. Like everyone is speaking a language you used to be fluent in, but can no longer quite translate. You are not broken. You are recalibrating. And recalibration is one of the most energy-intensive processes a human being can go through because it is not happening at the level of thought. It is happening at the level of frequency, at the level of cellular memory, at the level of the electromagnetic field your heart generates with every single beat. If this is landing for you, if something in these words is meeting you exactly where you are, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel so this frequency can keep finding you when you need it most. Let me take you deeper into this because understanding what is happening will not stop the process, but it will stop you from fighting it. And fighting it is the one thing that creates suffering in the middle of what should be the most liberating experience of your life. In quantum physics, there is a principle that has been demonstrated again and again in laboratories around the world. The observer affects the observed. When you look at a quantum system, you change it. The act of observation collapses possibility into a single reality. This is not philosophy. This is measured. This is documented. This is the foundation upon which modern technology operates. Your phone, your computer, the screen you are watching right now. All of it runs on technology that only works because quantum mechanics is real. Now here is where it gets interesting. If observation collapses quantum possibility into physical reality at the subatomic level, what happens when the observer itself changes? What happens when the consciousness doing the observing undergoes a fundamental shift in its frequency, its coherence, its depth of awareness? The answer is everything changes. Not metaphorically, literally. Because you are not observing reality from outside of it. You are the observation. You are the collapse point. You are the place where infinite possibility becomes specific experience. And when you shift, when your consciousness expands beyond the bandwidth it was previously operating within, you begin collapsing different possibilities. You begin materializing a different reality, not through effort, not through force, through being, through the simple, unavoidable fact that you are now resonating at a frequency that calls in different patterns, different synchronicities, different timelines. This is the fifth dimensional shift. And I want to be very clear about what that phrase actually means. because it has been diluted and distorted and turned into something it was never meant to be. The fifth dimension is not a place. It is not somewhere you go. It is not above you or beyond you or waiting for you at the end of some spiritual achievement ladder. The fifth dimension is a state of consciousness. It is a way of perceiving. It is the experience of reality when you are no longer filtering everything through the lens of separation, fear, linear time, and egoic identity. It is what happens when you stop experiencing yourself as an isolated fragment of consciousness, trapped in a body moving through hostile space, and start experiencing yourself as the field itself, as awareness itself, as the intelligence that was never born and cannot die, expressing itself temporarily through this particular pattern of flesh and bone and breath. And here is the part that will either terrify you or set you free depending on how ready you are to hear it. You did not earn this. You did not achieve this. You did not unlock this through enough meditation or enough suffering or enough good deeds. This shift chose you the way spring chooses which seeds to wake. Not because those seeds did something right, but because the conditions were met. Because the soil was ready, because the timing aligned with something so much larger than any individual decision. You were always going to wake up. The only question was when. And the when is now. But let us talk about what this actually looks like in your daily life, because spiritual concepts without practical grounding become just another form of escapism. And escapism is a third-dimensional trap disguised as fifth-dimensional wisdom. The first thing you will notice, and many of you have already noticed this, is that your relationship with time changes. Not your schedule, not your calendar, your actual felt experience of time. Moments stretch, hours compress. You will find yourself sitting in silence for what feels like 5 minutes and realize an hour has passed. You will find yourself in the middle of a workday feeling like time has stopped entirely, like the clock on the wall is lying to you. This is not a malfunction. This is what happens when consciousness begins to decouple from the linear time construct that third-dimensional awareness depends on. In the third dimension, time is a straight line. Past behind you, future ahead of you, present moment as a thin razor edge between the two. In the fifth dimension, time is a field. Everything is happening simultaneously. The past is not behind you, it is within you. The future is not ahead of you, it is being generated by you. The present moment is not thin, it is infinite. It contains everything, and your nervous system is learning to process this slowly, carefully. Because if it happened all at once, your body would not be able to handle the information density, so it comes in waves. Moments of expanded time perception, followed by moments of contraction back into the familiar linear experience, back and forth. Back and forth, like breathing, like tides, like the pulse of the universe itself. The second thing you will notice is that your emotional body becomes almost unbearably sensitive. Things that never affected you before will suddenly bring you to tears. A piece of music, a stranger's kindness, the way light moves through leaves, the sound of rain. You will feel emotions that do not seem to belong to you. Grief that has no story attached to it. Joy that has no cause. A deep, aching tenderness for the world that makes it hard to watch the news or scroll through social media without feeling like your heart is being squeezed. This is not weakness. This is the dissolution of the emotional armor that third-dimensional consciousness requires for survival. In the third dimension, you need walls, you need filters, you need the ability to not feel everything because the density of that reality is so heavy that full sensitivity would be overwhelming. But as you shift into higher frequency awareness, those walls become unnecessary. And unnecessary structures do not get carefully deconstructed. They crumble. Sometimes suddenly, sometimes in the middle of a grocery store for no apparent reason. Let yourself crumble. The version of you that needed those walls is not the version of you that is emerging. And the emerging version can hold more, feel more, process more, love more, without being destroyed by it. I want to ask you something. What was the first thing that fell away for you when this shift began? Was it a relationship, a belief, a habit, a version of yourself you had been holding together for years? Drop it in the comments. Because when you name it, you release its grip on you just a little bit more. The third thing, and this is the one that causes the most pain, is that your relationships begin to reorganize. And I do not mean they improve, not at first. At first, they destabilize. People you have known for years will start to feel like strangers. Conversations that used to flow will become stilted and uncomfortable. You will find yourself unable to participate in gossip, complaint, or surface-level interaction without feeling physically ill. Not morally superior. Physically ill. Like your body is rejecting the frequency of those exchanges the way it would reject contaminated food. And some people will fall away. Not because they are bad people, not because you are better than them, but because the energetic bridge that connected you was built at a frequency that no longer exists in your field. The bridge dissolves, and you cannot rebuild it. Not because you do not want to, but because the materials it was made from are no longer available to you. This is grief. Real grief. The grief of losing people who are still alive. The grief of watching relationships that meant everything to you become impossible to sustain. And the spiritual community does a terrible disservice when it frames this as simply releasing what no longer serves you. As if these were objects. As if these were subscriptions you can cancel. These are human beings you loved. These are histories you shared. These are parts of your identity that were woven together with other people's identities. And when they separate, it hurts. It is supposed to hurt. The hurt is not a sign that you are doing it wrong. The hurt is a sign that your love was real, and real love leaves real marks when it transforms. Breathe into that if you need to. There is no rush here. Now here is where I want to go deeper, because everything I have described so far is symptoms, and symptoms are important to recognize. But if you stop at symptoms, you miss the mechanism. And it is the mechanism that will give you the ability to move through this shift with grace instead of resistance. The mechanism is coherence. And coherence is one of the most important concepts you will ever encounter on this path. In physics, coherence refers to the state where waves align, where their peaks and valleys synchronize. A laser is coherent light, all the photons moving in the same direction at the same frequency at the same phase. A light bulb is incoherent light, photons scattered in every direction at different frequencies. Both produce light. But one can cut through steel and the other cannot even cut through fog. Your consciousness works the same way. In the third dimensional state, your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and actions are largely incoherent. They point in different directions. You think one thing, feel another, believe a third, and act on a fourth. Your mind says yes, while your body says no. Your words say, "I am fine," while your nervous system screams, "I am terrified." This internal contradiction is the normal state of third-dimensional consciousness, and it is exhausting. It is why you are tired all the time. Not because you do too much, but because your internal signals are fighting each other, and that civil war consumes enormous amounts of energy. The fifth dimensional shift is fundamentally a shift from incoherence to coherence. Your thoughts begin to align with your feelings. Your feelings begin to align with your beliefs. Your beliefs begin to align with your actions. And when all of these come into phase, when they synchronize, when they point in the same direction, something extraordinary happens. You become a laser. Your consciousness becomes focused, penetrating, capable of affecting reality in ways that scattered consciousness never could. This is what the ancient traditions called enlightenment, not some mystical state reserved for monks on mountaintops. Coherence, internal alignment. The end of the civil war between your mind and your heart, between your ego and your soul, between who you pretend to be and who you actually are. And the reason you cannot go back is because once coherence begins, it creates a feedback loop. Alignment feels so much better than contradiction that your system starts seeking more alignment automatically, like a compass finding north, like water finding its level. The intelligence of your own being starts reorganizing everything. Not because you tell it to, but because coherence is the natural state, and incoherence was always the aberration. You were never meant to live in contradiction. You were trained to, conditioned to, programmed to, but it was never natural. And now that the program is breaking down, your system is returning to its default setting, which is wholeness. Let that sink in. You are not ascending to something new. You are returning to something original. The shift is not evolution. It is remembering. You are not becoming more than you were. You are becoming what you always were before the world convinced you to be less. This is why the process feels simultaneously like dying and coming home. Because it is both. The false self dies. The true self recognizes itself, and in that recognition, there is a sweetness that no external experience can match. A quiet knowing that settles into your bones and says, yes, this is what I am. This is what I have always been. But the ego does not go quietly, and this is where the real work of the shift happens. Not in the blissful moments of expanded awareness, not in the synchronicities and the downloads and the moments of cosmic clarity, in the resistance, in the backlash, in the moments when every cell in your body screams to go back to the familiar, even though the familiar was killing you slowly. The ego is not your enemy. I want to be very clear about this, because there is a dangerous tendency in spiritual communities to demonize the ego, to treat it as something to be destroyed or transcended or conquered. The ego is a survival mechanism. It is the part of you that learned how to navigate a dense, challenging, sometimes hostile reality. It built walls because walls were needed. It created masks because masks kept you safe. It developed strategies of control and prediction and defense because at some point in your history, those strategies were the difference between psychological survival and psychological annihilation. So when the shift begins to dissolve the ego's structures, the ego does not experience this as liberation. It experiences this as death, and it responds accordingly. with fear, with panic, with desperate attempts to reassert control, with sudden intense urges to go back to old patterns, old relationships, old addictions, old ways of being that you thought you had already released. This is not regression. This is the ego's last stand. And it can be fierce. It can be convincing. It can show up as the voice that says you are making a mistake, that says this spiritual stuff is nonsense, that says you are losing your mind, that says you need to go back to being normal before you lose everything. And here is the thing that no one tells you. That voice is not entirely wrong. You are losing something. You are losing the illusion of control. You are losing the comfort of certainty. You are losing the identity that the world recognized and rewarded. You are losing the ability to pretend that the surface level of reality is all there is. And those losses are real. They deserve to be grieved. They deserve to be honored. Because that identity served you. It carried you through experiences that your true self was not yet ready to face directly. It was armor, and you needed armor until you did not. The art of this transition is learning to thank the armor as you remove it, not ripping it off in some dramatic spiritual gesture, not pretending you never needed it. Gently, piece by piece, acknowledging what it protected you from, honoring the intelligence that created it, and then setting it down. Not because it was wrong, because it is complete. Its purpose has been fulfilled, and now it is time for something else. Feel into that for a moment. Feel into the possibility that nothing in your past was a mistake, that every defense mechanism, every coping strategy, every mask you wore was exactly what was needed at the time. And that the shift you are experiencing now is not a rejection of your past self, but a graduation from it. A completion, an honoring. This changes everything about how you relate to the process. Instead of fighting your ego, you bow to it. Instead of trying to kill the old self, you thank it for its service. Instead of forcing the shift, you allow it. And in that allowing, something miraculous happens. The resistance softens. The fear loosens its grip. The transition becomes not a battle, but a surrender. Not a death, but a metamorphosis. Tell me something in the comments. What is the one thing your ego keeps trying to pull you back toward? What is the pattern or the identity it keeps whispering is safer? Name it. Because the moment you see it clearly is the moment it begins to lose its power over you. Now I want to talk about something that is going to challenge you. Because up to this point, everything I have said probably feels confirming. It matches your experience. It validates what you have been going through. And validation is important. But validation without challenge becomes spiritual comfort food. And comfort food does not transform. It soothes. And you did not come here to be soothed. You came here to be shifted. So here's the challenge. The fifth dimensional shift does not make your life easier. Not in the way your ego hopes it will. It does not mean that problems disappear. It does not mean that you float above human experience on a cloud of enlightened bliss. It does not mean that you are done with suffering or struggle or confusion. What it means is that your relationship to all of those things fundamentally changes. In the third dimension, suffering is something that happens to you. It is imposed from outside. It is caused by circumstances, by other people, by bad luck, by an unfair universe. You are the victim of your experience. In the fifth dimension, suffering is something that moves through you. It is not imposed. It is processed. It is felt fully, completely, without resistance, and because it is not resisted, it does not accumulate. It does not become trauma. It does not become story. It arises, it is experienced, it passes, like weather, like waves, like breath. This does not mean you do not feel pain. You feel it more intensely than ever, but you feel it cleanly. Without the added layers of why is this happening to me, and what did I do to deserve this, and this is not fair. Those layers are third-dimensional additions to the raw experience of being alive, and they are what turn pain into suffering. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is the story you tell about pain. And in the fifth dimension, the story dissolves. Not because you suppress it, because you see through it, because you recognize it as a construct, a habit of consciousness, not truth. This is radical responsibility, not blame, not guilt. Not the toxic positivity version where you pretend everything is fine and shame yourself for having human reactions. Radical responsibility is the recognition that your experience of reality is generated by your state of consciousness, that the same event can be devastating or liberating depending on the frequency from which you perceive it, that you are not at the mercy of your circumstances. You are at the source of your perception of those circumstances. And this is terrifying to the ego, because the ego's entire identity is built on being at the mercy of external forces. If you are the source, then you cannot be the victim. And if you cannot be the victim, then every complaint, every blame, every excuse you have ever used to avoid full engagement with your life becomes transparent, becomes visible, becomes a choice rather than a fate. This is where many people stall in the shift. They love the expanded awareness. They love the synchronicities. They love the feeling of connection to something greater. But they do not want to give up their stories. They do not want to release the identity of the one who was wronged, the one who had it harder, the one who was dealt a bad hand. Because those stories, painful as they are, provide something the ego desperately craves: a sense of self, a location in the narrative, a role to play. And the fifth dimension asks you to step off the stage entirely, to stop being a character in the story and become the awareness in which all stories arise, to stop identifying with the wave and recognize yourself as the ocean, not as a concept, not as a belief, as a lived, embodied, moment-to-moment experience. This is the point of no return, and you have already passed it. That is what I meant when I said the shift has already claimed you. Not that it is coming, not that it is possible, not that it is available if you do the right things. It has already happened. The seed has already cracked. The germination has already begun. And you cannot ungerminate a seed. You cannot uncrack an egg. You cannot unring a bell. The sound is already moving through the air. The light is already entering the room. The awareness is already aware of itself. And I know there are days when you doubt this. Days when the old patterns come roaring back with such force that you think nothing has changed. Days when you fall into old reactions, old fears, old ways of being that feel so familiar they must be true. Days when the shift feels like a fantasy you invented to cope with the difficulty of being human. Those days are part of the process, not obstacles to it. The shift does not move in a straight line. It moves in spirals. You revisit the same themes, the same wounds, the same patterns, but each time you meet them from a slightly different angle, a slightly higher perspective, a slightly deeper capacity for presence, and each time you move through them more quickly, with less drama, with more awareness, until eventually you can watch the old pattern arise, recognize it, feel it fully, and let it pass without being consumed by it, without believing it, without becoming it. This is mastery, not the absence of challenge, but the presence of awareness in the midst of challenge. Not the elimination of the human experience, but the illumination of it. You do not transcend your humanity. You infuse it with consciousness. You bring the light of awareness into the darkest corners of your experience, and you discover that darkness was never the opposite of light. It was just light that had not yet been witnessed. Now let me share something about the collective dimension of this shift, because it is not happening only to you. It is happening to the species. It is happening to the planet. It is happening to the field of consciousness itself. And your individual shift is not separate from the collective shift. They are the same movement experienced at different scales. When you shift your frequency, you do not just change your own reality. You change the field. You become a coherence point in the collective consciousness, a place where the signal is clear, where the noise is reduced, where the frequency of expanded awareness is being broadcast simply by your presence, simply by your being. You have felt this. You have walked into rooms and felt the energy shift. You have been around certain people and felt your own state change without a word being spoken. You have experienced the phenomenon of one person's calm presence settling an entire group's anxiety. This is field effect. This is coherence spreading through resonance. And you are becoming one of those coherence points. This is what it means to be chosen. Not selected by some external deity. Not picked from a lineup of souls and given a special mission. Chosen by the field itself. By the intelligence of consciousness, recognizing that this particular expression, this particular pattern, this particular you is ready to hold more light, to broadcast more signal, to anchor more coherence in a world that desperately needs it. And the reason it feels like a burden sometimes is because it is a responsibility. Not the kind of responsibility that is imposed from outside, the kind that arises from within, the kind that comes from knowing what you know and being unable to pretend you do not know it. The kind that comes from seeing what you see and being unable to close your eyes again. You cannot unsee the patterns. You cannot unhear the frequency. You cannot unfeel the connection. And so you carry it, not as weight, as presence, not as obligation, as offering, not as sacrifice, as service. But service does not mean what the old paradigm taught you it means. Service does not mean depleting yourself for others. Service does not mean ignoring your own needs in favor of some greater cause. Service does not mean suffering so that others might be spared. That is the third dimensional model of service, and it creates martyrs, not healers. It creates burnout, not transformation. It creates resentment dressed up as virtue. Fifth dimensional service is different. It begins with self-coherence, with your own alignment, with your own fullness. You serve by being full, not by being empty. You serve by being so aligned, so coherent, so saturated with your own frequency that your presence alone shifts the field around you. Not through effort, through overflow. The way a spring does not try to water the valley, it simply overflows, and the valley drinks. So if you have been exhausting yourself trying to heal everyone, trying to wake everyone up, trying to carry the emotional weight of every person in your life. Hear this. Stop, not because they do not matter, because you matter. And your coherence matters more than your effort. Your alignment matters more than your activity. Your frequency matters more than your words. The most powerful thing you can do for the collective shift is to tend your own field, to maintain your own coherence, to prioritize your own alignment, not as selfishness, but as strategy, as the most efficient way to serve the whole. Because one coherent signal does more for the field than 1,000 scattered ones. Pause with that. Let it reorganize your relationship with service, with giving, with the guilt that so many awakening beings carry about not doing enough. You are doing enough. You are being enough. Your shift is enough. Your presence is enough. Now I want to bring this into your body, because everything I have said so far has been moving through your mind. And the mind is important. Understanding is important. But the fifth dimensional shift is not a mental event. It is a somatic event. It happens in the body. It happens in the nervous system. It happens in the cells and the fascia and the electromagnetic field of the heart. And if it stays in the mind, it becomes just another concept, just another belief system, just another spiritual identity to wear. And you have already outgrown identities. You do not need another one. So right now, wherever you are, I want you to feel your body. Not think about your body. Feel it. Feel the weight of your hands. Feel the contact between your body and whatever surface is supporting you. Feel the temperature of the air on your skin. Feel the subtle rhythm of your heartbeat. Not as something you are observing from above, as something you are. You are the heartbeat. You are the breath. You are the sensation. Not the one watching the sensation itself. This is embodiment. This is what it feels like to be consciousness wearing a body instead of a mind trapped in one. And the difference is everything. When you are consciousness wearing a body, the body becomes an instrument of perception, a receiver and transmitter of frequency, a sacred technology that allows infinite awareness to have a specific, located, textured experience. And that experience is not lesser than pure awareness. It is the whole point. It is why consciousness chose form, not to escape from, to experience through. Feel your feet. Feel the ground beneath them. Feel the gravitational pull of the earth holding you, not as a force acting on you, as a relationship, as an embrace. The earth is not pulling you down. It is holding you close, and your body knows this. Your body has always known this. It is your mind that forgot. And as you feel this, as you drop your awareness from your head into your body, notice what happens. Notice how the noise quiets. Notice how the mental chatter softens. Notice how the urgency that drives so much of your daily experience begins to dissolve, not because the circumstances changed, because the location of your awareness changed. You moved from the mind, where everything is urgent and everything is a problem to be solved, into the body, where everything is present and everything is already whole. This is the practice. This is the daily practice of the fifth dimensional shift. Not meditation in the traditional sense, though meditation can support it. Not visualization or affirmation or any technique that keeps you in the mind. Embodiment. Dropping in. Coming home to the body again and again and again throughout the day. Every time you notice you have floated up into thought, into worry, into planning, into analysis, gently, without judgment, dropping back into sensation, back into feeling, back into the immediate, undeniable, always available reality of being alive in a body on a planet, in a universe that is conscious all the way down. This is how you stabilize the shift, not by understanding it better, by inhabiting it more fully, not by reading more books or watching more content or accumulating more spiritual knowledge, by feeling your feet on the ground, by tasting your food, by hearing the sounds around you without labeling them, by letting your eyes soften and seeing what is actually in front of you instead of the mental projection your mind overlays onto everything. The fifth dimension is not somewhere else. It is right here. It has always been right here. The only thing that was missing was your presence. Your full, embodied, undivided presence. And now that presence is returning. Now that presence is stabilizing. Now that presence is becoming your default state rather than your occasional experience. And this is why you cannot go back. Because presence, once it establishes itself, reveals the absence that preceded it. And once you have seen the absence, once you have recognized how much of your life was lived on autopilot, how many moments were missed, how many experiences were filtered through mental commentary instead of directly felt, you cannot unknow that. You cannot return to the trance. The trance has been broken, and what remains is life itself. Raw, unfiltered, overwhelming in its beauty and its pain and its absolute uncompromising realness. Welcome to the shift, not as a future event, as a present reality, not as something you are moving toward, as something you are standing in, right now, right here, in this breath, in this heartbeat, in this moment that contains everything you have ever searched for. There is something else I want you to understand about this process, and it has to do with the nature of trust. Because the fifth dimensional shift asks you to trust in a way that the third dimensional mind finds absolutely unreasonable. It asks you to trust without evidence, to move without guarantees, to release without knowing what will replace what you have let go of. The third dimension operates on proof. Show me the evidence and then I will believe. Show me the outcome and then I will commit. Show me the safety net and then I will jump. Everything is conditional. Everything requires external validation before internal commitment. And this made sense in a reality built on scarcity and threat. In a reality where resources were limited and danger was real and trust could get you killed. But the fifth dimension operates on faith. And I do not mean faith in the religious sense. I mean faith in the quantum sense. The willingness to commit to a state of being before the external evidence confirms it. The willingness to feel abundance before the bank account reflects it. The willingness to embody love before the relationship appears. The willingness to live as if the shift is real before your circumstances prove it. This is not delusion. This is how consciousness creates reality. The state comes first. The evidence follows. The frequency comes first. The manifestation follows. The internal shift comes first. The external reorganization follows. Always, without exception. This is not a belief. This is the mechanics of how observation collapses the quantum field into specific experience. And I know how hard this is. I know how everything in your conditioning screams against it. I know how the rational mind demands proof before commitment. But consider this: every major breakthrough in your life, every moment of genuine transformation, every time you stepped into something truly new, did the proof come first? Or did the leap come first? Did you know it would work before you did it? Or did you do it and then discover it worked? The leap always comes first. The net always appears after you jump, not before. This is not cruelty. This is the design. Because if the net appeared first, it would not require trust. And without trust, there is no expansion. Without trust, there is no growth. Without trust, consciousness stays contracted, defended, small. Trust is the mechanism through which consciousness expands. It is not a nice spiritual quality, it is a functional requirement of dimensional shift. So what are you being asked to trust right now? What is the edge you are standing on? What is the leap that your soul is calling you toward, that your ego is terrified of? What would you do if you knew, truly knew, that the net would appear? What would you release? What would you step into? What would you become? Hold those questions. Do not answer them with your mind. Let them sink into your body. Let them find their own answers in the silence between your thoughts. Because the mind will give you safe answers. Reasonable answers. Answers that keep you where you are. The body will give you true answers. Wild answers. Answers that make your heart race and your palms sweat, and your soul say yes. Trust those answers. Even when they terrify you, especially when they terrify you. Because the terror is not a warning. It is a threshold. And on the other side of every threshold you have ever crossed, you found more of yourself, more capacity, more freedom, more life. This is the invitation of the shift. Not to be comfortable, to be alive, not to be safe, to be real, not to have all the answers, to be the question itself, living and breathing and unfolding in real time. And here is the final thing I want to leave you with. The most important thing. The thing that changes everything if you let it. You are not alone in this. I know it feels like you are. I know the shift can be isolating. I know that as your frequency changes and your old relationships fall away and your old identity dissolves, there can be a profound loneliness that settles in. A feeling of being between worlds. Too awake for the old reality. Not yet fully established in the new one. Floating in a space that nobody around you seems to understand. But you are not alone. There are millions of beings on this planet right now going through exactly what you are going through, feeling exactly what you are feeling, questioning exactly what you are questioning, lying awake at 3 a.m, staring at the ceiling, wondering if they are losing their mind or finding their soul. They are in every country, every culture, every age group, every background, and they are all feeling the same thing, the same pull, the same unraveling, the same terrifying, beautiful, irrevocable shift. You are part of a wave, not a wave you created, a wave that created you, a wave of consciousness that is moving through the species right now. Activating dormant codes, dissolving outdated structures, rebuilding reality from the inside out. And you are not a passenger on this wave. You are the wave itself. You are consciousness becoming aware of itself through the specific, unique, irreplaceable lens of your particular experience. No one else can see what you see. No one else can feel what you feel. No one else can hold the frequency that you hold. Your specific expression of this shift is needed, not optional, needed. The way a specific note is needed in a chord. Remove it, and the harmony changes. The whole field feels the absence. So do not shrink. Do not apologize for your sensitivity. Do not dim your awareness to make others comfortable. Do not pretend you cannot see what you see, or feel what you feel, or know what you know. The world does not need you to be smaller. It needs you to be exactly as vast as you are becoming. Consider coming back to this video tomorrow morning. Listen to it again before the noise of the day begins. Let these frequencies reset your field and anchor your coherence before the world tries to pull you back into the old patterns. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, send this to them. When you share these words with another awakening soul, you create a resonance bridge between your fields, amplifying the coherence in both of you and rippling that signal outward into the collective in ways neither of you could achieve alone. The shift has claimed you. There is no going back. And the most beautiful part, the part that you will only understand fully in hindsight, is that you never wanted to go back. What you wanted was permission to go forward, permission to be what you are, permission to live from the depth that has always been available but never felt safe to inhabit. This is your permission, not from me, from the intelligence that is reading these words through your eyes right now, from the awareness that chose this moment to recognize itself, from the consciousness that has been waiting patiently, lovingly, eternally for you to stop pretending you are small. You are not small. You have never been small. You were infinite wearing a disguise, and the disguise is falling away. Let it fall. Let it all fall, and stand in what remains, which is everything, which is you, which has always been you. Breathe. Feel your body. Feel the shift that is already happening. Feel the coherence building in your cells. Feel the old world releasing its grip. Feel the new frequency settling into your bones, like a song you have always known, but are only now allowing yourself to sing. You cannot go back. And somewhere beneath the fear, beneath the uncertainty, beneath the grief of everything you are leaving behind, there is a part of you that is smiling. That has been smiling since before you were born. That will be smiling long after this body returns to the earth. That smile is your true face, and it is finally being seen. If these words found you today, it is because you were ready for them, not ready in the sense of prepared, ready in the sense of ripe, ready in the sense of the fruit that has reached the moment where it must either fall from the tree or rot on the branch. You are falling, and falling is not failure. Falling is how seeds find soil. Falling is how rain finds rivers. Falling is how consciousness finds form. Let yourself fall into this, into the shift, into the unknown, into the version of reality that your soul has been building while your ego was busy defending the old one. It is already here. It is already you. It has already begun. And there is no going back. If this resonated with something up inside you, something that has been waiting to be spoken to, leave a word in the comments. Just one word. Whatever word arose while you were listening, let it be a marker, a signal, a way of saying, I am here, I am in this, I am part of this wave. And then subscribe to this channel, not for content, for coherence, for the reminder that you are not alone in this shift, for the frequency that meets you where you are and walks with you into where you are going. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. You will know who they are. You already have their face in your mind. Trust that. Send it. The field will do the rest. You cannot go back, and you were never meant to.